But what I find interesting is that if you take what he says in the second canto, right, where he's saying, eyes are like peacock plumes if they're not used for seeing the deity of the Lord. The ears are like the holes in a conch shell. The tongue is like croaking frogs. I mean, all these very heavy examples about how useless, what a tragedy is to not use the senses for Krishna culture, right? For spiritual culture. Because they're saying you can do 3 things with them. And Shruti Stuti, personified Vedas chapter. You can use them for sense gratification or to follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures, revealed truth, regulate your life. That's what a real karmi is, actually. Somebody who's regulating their life in terms of scriptural suggestions, injunctions. But then the third aspect for actually, muktir hadvanyata rupam swarupena vibhastiti, substantial hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, glorifying Krishna, etc. But if you look in the Madhya Lila, the second chapter, which is the summary of what the whole final pastimes of Mahaprabhu are, right? Because it says, what is it? Shesh Lila, divided into Madhya and Antya. So the final pastimes are summarized in the second chapter of Madhya Lila. And Srimati Radharani, she starts saying things that are equally as intense and shocking as what Sukadev says. And in the purport, Saraswati Thakur quotes the whole Sukadev section of the Bhagavatam as a parallel to what's being expressed from her. And she's saying the same thing. Those eyes that don't behold the beautiful form of Krishna, they're used. What is the purpose of such eyes? So we can take it from him. In the beginning stage, it's like encouraging one to that's an understatement to say encouraging one to take up spiritual life, spiritual practices. But I think we have to think of him this way. The intensity sounds rough or rude or crude from our point of view. Like, it's some fanatic talking. But if we approach it in this way, that of what he's observed, back to the drishtva, rishi concept, something that was so beautiful, charming and sweet and heart-swallowing, saying to not use you have all the apparatus, everything you need before you to appreciate all of this, and to not use it for that is a tragedy. So it's not in a vicious way that these things are being said, or dismissive way, insulting, mean-spirited. Right? But rather, on the basis of what has been appreciated, it's more of a lament, saying, why would you not, having a glimpse of that beauty, want to behold the beauty of Krishna? Yadanucharita lila karna piyusha biprut sakrid dadana vidutadanda dharma vinashta. Radharani herself saying, once hearing, and we could say by implication, substantive hearing, once substantially hearing about Krishna, the beauty of Krishna, some even remote semblance of that appears in your consciousness and the deep heart's core. Why would you want to hear anything else? Unless you were forced to. forced by karmic circumstance. But this is so charming that you would remain in continuous connection with that, awake internally, even in the midst of being surrounded by karmic circumstance. So it's interesting, Saraswati Thakur puts the whole Sukadev section in the purport that is almost a mirror of what is being expressed by Srimati Radharani. But we can understand there's her way of seeing, and what is Sukadev seeing? And now we're back to gradation. Rukmini is saying, after you've seen the beauty of Krishna and his form, his everything about him, you're saying, how could you possibly think of someone else as your counterpart? And she gives some gross description of the human body. So again, coming from our position, we think, oh, they're attacking these things we hold near and dear. But actually, it's coming from the point of view of having experienced, observed the beauty of Krishna. When from that position, looking at something else, right? Mukunda, he's so beautiful, he makes mukti look ugly. It's like kleshagni subhada moksha lagutakrit. The actual pure devotees, we hear from Kapila and later echoed in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami, they have no interest, and not only no interest, that idea of liberation without any potential for seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, feeling Krishna, it's like, oh, it's hell, a hellish nightmare to them. So then we'll think, well, that's not our, we'd take mukti, like any day of the week if someone offered it to us. Because we don't have a proper conception. We're not properly conceiving. So if we hear what's being expressed by these devotees, even though we can understand that's far away from where we are presently, we can understand, again, the Sambandha Avideya Prayojan, this is the direction, this is the conclusion, and there is a plane where an aspiring servitor can genuinely express such feelings. Hare Krishna.